we traveled the country to find out how the U.S. military feeds service members, from mobile field kitchens to military academy dining halls. We begin with the U.S. military's largest cafeteria at Slagle Hall in San Antonio, Texas. These cooks are preparing 4,500 meals at the Slagle Mess Hall, the U.S. military's largest dining facility. At 60,000 square feet, it serves Army soldiers, Air Force airmen, and Navy sailors who train at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas.
Daily, I'm preparing at least about 3,500 to 4,000, at least for breakfast. Our head count goes up for lunch, so we automatically feeding at least 4,500.
So that's some good pasta right there.
We need a balanced, nutritious meal. This is the powerhouse right here. So this is where we provide you those meals that is going to allow you to get up and be the best that you can be for that day.
Business Insider spent 2 days with Slagle staff as they prepared for the largest meal of the day, lunch, while following a color-coded system intended to encourage service members to make healthier choices. The 3 main courses are 600 pounds of ginger pot roast, 1,400 pounds of Bombay chicken, and 210 pounds of cheese tortellini with marinara. There's also an assortment of vegetables, short order food, and a salad bar that feeds 4,000 to 4,500 trainees in just 90 minutes. Personnel from all branches of the military train at Fort Sam Houston, many of them at the Medical Education and Training Campus. In 2013, the dining facility was named in honor of Sergeant First Class Wayne Slagle, a distinguished Army combat medic.
Mashed potatoes? Thank you.
Gravy?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I can definitely make my day. I come here about 3 times a day. It's included in my BAS, so might as well. The experience is really cool. All the staff are very nice. I've built a bond with a couple of them, especially for being here for so long, so it's just nice to see those familiar faces here.
Slagle serves about 66,000 meals each week, about 35,000 to Army soldiers, 18,000 to Navy sailors, and 13,000 to Air Force airmen. All trainees are required to dine at Slagle for lunch Monday through Friday. To prepare the meal in time for 4,500 trainees, the lunch staff is broken into 2 shifts: the night crew, which prepares the food, and the lunch crew, which cooks, pans, and serves it. For today's meal, prep begins at 8 o'clock the night before.
Java and Teresa, of course, y'all know there's knuckle. I saw it out there. Chicken quarters. I haven't seen the tortellini, I haven't seen the lasagna. I'm gonna go check on that, okay? So y'all do your thing.
Our overnight crew comes in, they cook off the ginger pot roast. It's not fully cooked, but they brown it and cook it off. That way, when I come in, that makes it easier to slice once it's cooled and everything from what they did. And then once we slice it, we go back into the oven. So it's like a whole process.
To prepare the ginger pot roast, the cooks start by unpackaging about 600 pounds of beef knuckle. They move it into pans, season it, and move it all into ovens to brown. While the beef knuckle browns in the oven, the cooks begin placing the chicken quarters on pans, so they're ready to hit the oven when the lunch crew arrives the next morning.
You got what chicken this is?
1,400 pounds.
It's kind of a workout.
Yes.
On the other side of the kitchen, another cook finishes boiling macaroni noodles for the pasta salad.
So that's some good pasta right there. A good little pasta snack.
Let it sit for about 10 more minutes, it should be cool.
While the pasta cools, the cook begins preparing salad for the salad bar. At the same time, Cabbage is being washed and chopped in preparation for the calico cabbage dish. With the pasta cooled, the cook returns to the tilt grill to add in peppers, onions, and seasoning. It's then scooped into a pan and stored in the fridge. After just 3 hours of prep, the cooks move all of the food into the refrigerator for the next shift.
Okay. Well, no, I might need that for my folks.
The next day, lunch prep begins at 6 a.m. A cook seasons the chicken quarters before sticking them in the oven. While another slices the pot roast.
How long does it take you to slice up all the? Depending on how much you use, but an hour and a half, about 400 or 500 pounds.
Once it's sliced, the pot roast is placed back into the oven to finish cooking. In a 60-gallon kettle, the marinara sauce is made with 114 pounds of pizza sauce, vegetable oil, and an assortment of seasonings. Once the sauce is ready, it's poured over the tortellini. And placed in the oven to cook. With the main courses underway, 450 pounds of peas, carrots, and cabbage are added to the tilt grill and boiled. While more cooks pan and prep the remaining produce for the salad bar.
It's not really a challenge, or it's not too hard for us, because most of us have been here 10 to 15 and 20 years plus. So it's like we're in the motion of doing this already. We kind of already have this idea of, I know how many soldiers I'm gonna feed. They told me we fed this much last night, so I know to project this head count for the next day.
In the hot kitchen, the chicken is removed from the oven, moved into serving pans, and topped with Bombay sauce. The chicken is moved into warmers to stay at a safe temperature until lunch, while the ginger pot roast goes back into the oven to continue cooking.
I've never met a person before that has not had a sweet tooth. But again, my key word is balance.
Cooks prep the desserts by cutting over 2,000 slices of cake and moving them into individual serving containers. Slagle orders over 1,800 cakes per week.
So our desserts that we provide here at the Slagle, they come in a multitude of combinations. Some are pre-prepared and some that are prepared in the facility. However, we try to cut down on the sugars and the fats, but more importantly, it's all about the taste. So if we can fool them and give them a great taste, then we have won.
In 2022, Slagle Hall served 2.1 million meals.
It's not how much food we serve, it is what is our grocery bill. So our grocery bill is astronomical.
According to Slagle, the mess hall spends $14.2 million annually on the food provided to trainees for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, served 365 days a year. And managing that food is a logistical challenge.
I have dairy Monday through Friday, produce the same thing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I have my bread Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday. So basically there's always something going on with what's coming in or what's going out.
The kitchen at Slagle has 10,000 cubic feet of refrigerator space.
It's a big freezer. I can probably hold to maybe up to $300,000 worth of food. But I vary about 187 to 200,000. My meats will be basically hidden back here where my pallets are. My breakfast items, sausage, pancakes, waffles. This will be all our greens, which is asparagus, green beans, broccoli, peas, corn. It goes all the way to that back wall over there.
As lunch nears, the staff prepares the dining rooms and moves the produce onto the salad bar. An elevator helps them move the food between the two dining room floors. The food is removed from the warmers and set out on the serving line. Outside, trainees begin to make their way to the mess hall. Typically, trainees are required to march into lunch in formation. However, on this day, because of an unseasonably cold Texas morning, trainees were permitted to arrive independently.
Instead of limiting us to just one item, it's cool to have a variety, especially throughout the week. It's not the same thing every week. Me personally, it takes me a little longer to try and figure out what I want to eat for today. But just going through the line, they offer us, I believe it's 2 proteins and then 2 sides. So there's just a different variety of sides. So sometimes it's hard to pick.
You want to try it? You got to try it.
I always do stop at the salad bar as well. Usually to try and add a little bit of extra protein, so maybe some eggs or some ham cubes to my meal.
Serving 4,500 trainees in 90 minutes is no small task. Slagle is broken into 2 floors, each with its own serving lines and dining room that feeds 1,100 at a time each, meaning trainees must eat quickly so everyone can be fed in the allotted time.
Most of the companies, we have anywhere between 200 to 300 people. If you're closer to the front of the line, you get a little bit more time. If you're near the end, you don't get as much, but roughly 15, 20 minutes or so for everybody at least. And then, they want you outside ready to go so we can go back to class and, focus on our primary studies and everything.
There's no specific calorie count that we're trying to hit because we do not tell an individual that you can't come through the line again. However, it has to be balanced.
The menu follows a DoD-implemented program known as Go for Green, which encourages service members to make healthier choices. On the serving line, the food is categorized into 3 groups, each represented by a different color. Green for healthy foods trainees should eat often, such as steamed brown rice. Yellow for foods trainees should eat occasionally, like hot rolls. And red for foods trainees should eat rarely, like gravy.
If you was to ask me why trainees need so much food and why we have to provide the balanced meal that we do, it's because they're not at home anymore. They are not on the couch. They are out here training, getting it in, defending the country that we all love. And in order to do that, you got to have the spirit. We don't provide that, but what we do provide is the fuel and the energy that you need in your body.
As lunch comes to an end, trainees leave the mess hall to return to their training, while Slagle staff cleans the dining room and prepares for dinner, which is now only 4 hours away.
When U.S. Army soldiers are on deployment or running field exercises, they have to eat a lot.
You got this burning right here and no food cooking. Stop.
That's where Army culinary specialists come in.
If a unit goes out to the field, if a unit deploys, well, they've got to eat. So we're going with them.
After completing basic training, future culinary specialists head to Fort Lee, Virginia, to train for 8 weeks, where they'll learn how to cook for up to 800 soldiers in this. It might not look like much now.
Stand clear. Give me ball.
But when it's fully assembled, it has the capability to act as a fully functioning kitchen that can keep troops fed in the most remote of environments.
We went from a box on wheels to a whole freaking kitchen, right?
But before trainees cook for hundreds of hungry soldiers out in the field,
that shit looks like more than 5, doesn't it? No.
They have to start with the basics.
There you go, okay?
Some of them don't even know how to turn a stove on.
Insiders spent 5 days at Fort Lee. observing several classes at various stages of training.
One of the main things that I like to tell my soldiers as I'm training them is we don't just provide food, we provide fuel. For those personnel who are on the front line, for the war fighter, fold this side in.
3,000 to 4,000 members of the Army and National Guard graduate every year from the 8-week course, which is broken down into 5 sections. First, classroom training on food safety, sanitation, and nutrition. Then, hands-on training in the techniques of cookery, before moving on to baking, cookies, pies, and more. Next, 5 days of cooking in the garrison dining hall. Finally, training culminates outdoors, with a week of cooking in the Army's mobile kitchens. Trainees arrive at Fort Lee with varying levels of cooking experience.
What kind of experience did you have cooking before arriving at Fort Lee?
I cooked a lot with my mother.
I have an associate's degree in culinary arts.
I had no experience at all cooking.
Prior experience is not necessary. One of the awesome things about our job, everything you need to know, we can teach you here.
So the customer ate it, they got sick. That's all it takes.
Training begins in the classroom, with 2 days of instruction in sanitation and nutrition.
The information that trainees learn is to ensure that they're cooking good, nutritious food for the warfighter. And then they also learn about safety, sanitation, how to prevent infectious disease, how not to transfer and cross-contaminate food, and then how to provide safe meals.
Sanitation is everything. If your people aren't safe, and if you aren't safe, then the mission can't be completed.
Trainees are tested at the end of each block of training in the form of a 50-question exam.
We have anywhere from 9 to 15 different diseases that they learn. Then they have to understand what food items they're found in, how do their practices impact their ability to be able to spread those diseases to different customers within those facilities.
You will go to your stations, you will put on your hat, and you'll put on your apron.
Training moves from the classroom to the cooking labs during techniques of cookery.
The techniques of cooking is basically their first introduction to the kitchen. Some of them don't even know how to turn a stove on, so that's where I get to teach them how to use their equipment.
But before they start cooking, trainees need to become familiar with the tools they'll be working with.
This first bend in your finger, this first little knuckle, all right, this is gonna be the furthest point out, so this is gonna be on your knife. It'll be just like this. There's a couple methods that I use, like a claw method, making sure that they tuck their fingertips underneath, because in our field, you kind of need your fingers, you kind of need all of them. Cube is what? Same size all around, right? All right, so.
Trainees get to see instructor demonstrations on how to cook certain foods during their first 4 days in the labs. But they won't have that luxury later on.
Weigh up your beef, put it in your large pot, and you just move on to the next step, okay? They'll come up to our front of our stations and we'll literally show them how to do it step by step, accordance with the recipe card. Then they have the opportunity to go back to their stations and apply what we taught them how to do that product. If you don't have rice in your small pot yet, half a cup of rice, all you have to do is read your recipe cards, guys. That is key. If your beef stew is at a boil, you're gonna put the lid on your beef stew and then turn it down to a simmer. I think in this whole procedure, if you don't understand how to read a recipe card, then you're gonna fail. You have to be able to read it step by step. That way you can learn how to do these things and execute. That looks like more than 5, doesn't it? Looks like 6. Jesus. There you go, okay? The hardest thing is probably retaining information, learning the techniques that we teach them, and then applying it. Take your ladle, you don't want to overkill. Make it look nice and neat. Part of your grade is presentation, guys.
Once the trainees have completed their recipe, they bring their finished product to the back of the cooking lab to be graded on presentation, technique, and execution.
We teach them the basics, how to cut, how to slice. We also teach them how to simmer, how to braise, how to saute, and then we teach them about moist heat, dry heat. All those things incorporated get them ready for what is known as a cook-off at the 5th day. Don't stress out. Have fun. Make sure you have your utensils.
During the cook-off, trainees have 1 hour to prepare a chef's salad, green beans lyonnaise, and spaghetti with a ragu sauce, but won't receive a demonstration or explicit guidance from their instructor.
Coming in today for cook-off, I was actually excited because I enjoy cooking. That's fun. I was a little nervous about what to expect, unknown, not knowing like, oh, I make a mistake.
It was just a whole lot of anxiety, a lot of nervous thoughts and excitement bunched in one cluster.
5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes.
Sometimes they are scared because there is a time that they're timed with, and also, it's just stressful. And then you got me watching you around your back and all that stuff.
At the end of the cook-off, the trainees' dishes are graded on a number of criteria. They'll be docked points if items are not cut properly, dishes are undercooked or overcooked, or if their sauce is not the right consistency.
The thing that you did wrong was supposed to be slices, correct? So
I thought when you meant
those are rings.
Oh.
Yeah. But you did good on everything else. You overcooked your onions a little bit, okay, and they're a little bit too big, okay? A lot of the students did a lot of things right. The biggest thing is when they do cut-ups. Some of their cuts that they do for these products are either too big. Some things that are wrong is they don't drain all the liquids off of certain individual items. Presentation is important because it's all about eye appeal. So when you go to any restaurant and you serve something outstanding, that's going to show the people that you put your flair into it. You put your own artwork into it. Sauce, it's outstanding, good job. Salad, good presentation, and good cuts, right? So good job. All the trainees passed all their products today, so it makes me feel very happy. It makes me feel like they listened to what I had to teach, and they applied it to everything that they plated on their presentation.
And actually preparing it and see actually how you got all this put into one dish. It comes out so well. It tastes so good. It puts a lot of pride in your heart.
So you use your rubber spatula to get all that sugary goodness inside the bowl.
Now armed with a foundation in the techniques of cooking, trainees move on to baking.
Well, everybody has a sweet tooth, but like I say, we're just not feeding soldiers, we're feeding civilians too. So we just make sure we give them a nice home away from home treat, and I think everybody deserves that.
When you're putting your sweet potato pie mixture in your shell, ensure you do not get it on the edges or it's going to burn. Everybody tracking? Remember, get your butter knife, you will stick it in the center, and then pull out, it should come out clean. So if not, just put it back in there.
But sometimes in techniques of cooking, they have trouble in that, and then they become the best baker in this section because they know they have to pay attention to detail and they can't skip any steps.
Baking is a science, and if you don't pay attention exactly, you're gonna get it wrong.
If we had a conventional oven, yeah, it will be done, but these gas, because the heat is coming from up from the bottom, it's taking longer for it to cook around it.
I've learned a lot with Miss Harrison. She's a great cook, great teacher.
So once your fruit pie and your sweet potato pie, when they're done, I want you to put them both on the same sheet pan. And then we're gonna present it over there by our numbers.
Once again, the trainees' finished products are graded on a number of criteria.
For my custard pie, you guys did a real good job. So the filling looks good, so now my eyes is going to the crust, okay? So that's what's gonna sell me, the crust. Whew, it's tight. Who's this, number 6, number 2, and number 7 again. You did a good job today.
The baking module of training also ends in a 50-question exam and bake-off. But for now, trainees get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The Garrison Operations module of training is a culmination of everything the trainees have learned so far.
It's the first glimpse of what they will see once they get to their actual unit after they graduate.
Trainees spend 5 days cooking in an actual Garrison kitchen at Fort Lee, preparing a variety of food.
Platoon, attention. Squad leaders prepare for cook now. Call out.
We observed one platoon of trainees over the course of several mornings, which starts at 0500 with what's called a cook's mount.
It's accountability for everyone that's supposed to be on the shift. And we're checking for the hair, we're checking to make sure that it's nice, neat, we're checking for nail length, we're checking to make sure that there's no abrasions or make sure that they're not sick.
Once the trainees pass their daily inspection, they start preparing breakfast.
Think about when y'all make cinnamon rolls upstairs in small quantity baking. You're making it the same way.
Operations are a lot more thorough than what I had expected it to be. Everybody is assigned to their own station and position, and whatever doesn't get done in the end, we pick up the slack and as a team and work together to ensure that food gets handled out in an orderly manner.
Slice the entire ham up, cut it off, then you remove the ham, right, and you put it into your third pan, okay? For the first couple of days, I look for them to be sort of confused. They don't know where things are. They don't know how to turn on certain equipments and things of that nature. You want to kind of make it in a straight line, right? And then remember which ones you laid down first, right? Come Thursday and Friday, then that's when the instructors typically take a step back, and then we kind of let them operate on their own so we can see if they're grasping the information.
Even though it was stressful, it was really like hands-on, and you got to like learn and experience a lot more things, and you got to make more like meals, prepare dishes for like other people to eat, not just yourself and your platoon.
Thank you very much.
Trainees head outside for the 5th and final module of training, which is focused on field cooking operations.
So you're gonna alternate your meat between here and here. You know what I mean?
The equipment that we teach here at Field Operations Training Branch, that's the equipment that we use in the operational force.
But before they can start cooking in the mobile kitchens,
On lift, everybody raise it up. Ready, set, go.
1, 2, 3, on lift.
they have to learn how to build them.
Let me get 4 up there, everybody else down here on the ground. So the mobile kitchen trailer, we can use that when we got up to 300 personnel to feed 3 times a day and in basically any environment. Take a mental note of where everything is, all right? Because that's how we're going to pack it back up.
In addition to the mobile kitchen trailer, trainees are taught how to build and operate the Army's containerized kitchen, or CK.
The containerized kitchen, that is our largest field feeding platform. We're gonna use our containerized kitchen more often in a situation where we've built up some infrastructure. We have the capacity to feed 800 personnel, and with our capacity to feed more people, we can bring more people in to support that area, to defend that area, and to accomplish those missions.
Watch your head, watch your head, watch your head, watch your head. The process of setting up the CK is very challenging because there's a lot of big moving parts. You got to watch out for your battle buddies because there's a lot of things that's unfolding and spreading out on the CK, so you got to communicate.
Over the course of 2 weeks, trainees have to pass a 50-question exam and demonstrate proficiency with each piece of equipment.
We went from a box on wheels to a whole freaking kitchen, right?
Y'all made that with love, huh? Y'all made that with love. They look good.
The final week of training is spent cooking in the mobile kitchens, and not just for themselves.
At any given time, we can have up to 300 or 400 personnel out here on the grounds. They're gonna break down their meals, they're gonna identify how many personnel they're actually feeding, and then they're going to actually prepare meals for everybody at FOTB, not just their group.
I specifically told nobody to turn on the MBU without my eyes on it. You got this burning right here and no food cooking. Stop. Put them on there. Again, nobody will turn on any MBUs without me visually looking at you.
Learning in the mobile kitchen, it's been challenging because it's different. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration.
The aspect that I do enjoy the most in the mobile kitchen is the closeness I get with my battle buddies. I could just be like, okay, here's this, put this to the side for a minute, help them out, cool, spin around, help the next person, go back to what I'm doing. Like, we work as a team.
1 full scoop of oatmeal, 1 full scoop of potato, and 1 of these.
In my experience, their response to utilizing the equipment is by far and away positive. They like learning and they like seeing the fruits of their labor.
When we go to the field, soldiers are tired, they're running through missions, they're running through lanes, and then when they see you, it's almost like they're not tired no more because they got food, they got nice, hot chow, and that's just the most motivating thing.
According to Fort Lee, about 95% of trainees who start the course are able to graduate. Once they do, they'll be assigned to their next unit, either domestically or at one of the hundreds of Army bases around the world.
Training here has been an experience. It's been fun. I learned a lot of new things, cooked in a lot of different elements and environments and stuff like that. So it's been great.
This job is not lower than any other job that's in the military. It's just as hard as any other job out there. What I think about food is morale. When they come out of the field doing, crazy things out there, and they have a good meal, a hot meal, then it makes them just happy and gives them more energy, and they're able to accomplish their mission.
Is there meat in there?
Yes, chicken burrito.
These cooks are preparing over 13,500 meals for the 4,400 midshipmen who attend the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. For today's meal, kitchen staff told us they ordered 7,500 German sausages and about 500 pounds of sauerkraut, in addition to this sliced Leberkäse, a German meatloaf similar to bologna, for the Academy's annual Oktoberfest celebration.
Voila.
Feeding these future sailors isn't like feeding your average college student.
As a midshipman, they are engaged with a lot of activities, academic, military, and sports activities as well. So it is very, very important for us to feed them at least between 35 to 4,200 calories per day.
And the food doesn't just have to be plentiful, it also has to be good.
If food's bad, people's morale will be bad. If food's great, people's morale will be great.
We're trying to boost the morale, because back in the fleet, it's nothing like this. It's a real deal, but here, we take care of them.
Cooking for thousands of midshipmen is no easy task. A staff of over 50 cooks and nearly 100 wait staff serves the students 3 times a day.
This is a beast here. This is a machine that never stops. The second you're done with one meal, you gotta jump on the next or you're not gonna make it.
We got access to the Naval Academy's dining hall to see how different meals are prepared and served, starting with the biggest meal of the day, lunch. But not just any lunch. It's Friday, which means they're serving the midshipmen their favorite meal.
Can you explain to me what is your favorite meal here?
Oh man, my favorite meal is definitely buff chicks.
I think buff chicks. I know a lot of people are big fans of buff chicks, and I am as well.
Yeah, definitely buff chicks.
Buff chicks stands for buffalo chicken, and because it's so popular, we have it every Friday now. But typically it consists of a chicken patty.
That's chicken right there.
And then they have this really spicy sauce, and people usually just slap it on and add some potato wedges, call it a day.
We actually moved buff chicks from a Wednesday meal to a Friday meal this semester, kind of boost the morale going into the weekend.
We serve that every week, and we try to pull it away to get angry at us.
When I first started, the chicken would be deep fried to try to make it a healthier item. It has since been cooked in the combi ovens.
Kitchen staff told us they prepared 7,000 to 8,000 pieces of chicken for this meal, which they put on trays with enough fries to feed the entire student body. The trays are then placed in the combi ovens and baked until everything is crispy.
Nowadays we have combination combi ovens, they call them, that will either cook radiant heat, convection heat, steam heat, or combination heat. That's the combi oven where you can adjust it to anywhere from 0 to 100% humidity, cook half radiant, half steam.
While the chicken patties cook in the combi ovens, 2 cooks prepare the sandwich's signature sauce and cheese.
How many bowls do you have to do in the buffalo sauce?
Right now we're doing 400 the chicken too, we always do 400. The favorite thing here is chicken.
I have to do 40 trays of blue cheese to feed 418 tables of midshipmen.
Wow. That's a lot of blue cheese.
Yes.
Once all the food is prepped and ready to go, it's a race against the clock to get it out the doors and onto the tables in the Naval Academy dining hall, known as King Hall. a 55,000 square foot dining hall with 392 tables.
Right now we're in King Hall, which is the wardroom. We call them wardrooms in the Navy, not a dining hall or mess hall or chow hall. So we have a different term because we operate like we're on a Navy ship and it's a wardroom there. So this is the officer's wardroom.
King Hall is located in the center of Bancroft Hall, the massive dormitory on campus where all midshipmen reside.
It's the largest single building dormitory in the world. All 4,500 or so midshipmen live together in Bancroft Hall, split between 8 different wings and 30 different companies.
While King Hall staff finish prepping for lunch, all midshipmen gather in front of Bancroft Hall for formation.
Our brigade commander gives us commands, carry swords, all that stuff. After all the attention, parade, rest, all that fun stuff, they say, center face, and that's when the whole brigade turns towards the middle of T-Court. And from there, they say forward, and then everyone starts marching towards Bancroft.
The academic schedule is such that the really class from 7:55 to almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Whereas a typical college university, you might have a class at 6 o'clock in the morning, that you may have your last class 6, 7 o'clock at night, and they can go and eat whenever they want to. Not here. So we're limited by the time, what the academic schedule says we can do.
They come all together and sit at the same time.
King Hall waitstaff then serves all 4,400 students in under 5 minutes. A task aided by 30 heated carts.
Basically, one tray is one table. 20 trays equivalent to 20 tables multiplied by 12. So we have over 30 carts.
It's insane of how they roll out these gray carts, and then from there they have trays of food and they're just handing it out to different tables. And this is all in a span of 5 minutes because everyone's hungry and they're all trying to eat.
I've been in the big command. I've been in the carrier, which we serve 5,000 to 5,500 people. At no time that I serve 5,500 in one sitting. But this one is a little bit different. The massive sitting of 4,400 in 15 minutes is tremendous and never seen like it before. And they only have from the start to finish, they only have 15 to 20 minutes to eat their food.
But the midshipmen eat in about 10 minutes. It's like they inhale the food.
You have to order more?
We do, because we put 18 pieces on each table, so 150%. So we give them additional round table. Another thing too, we always have a few trays extra. So if they want more food, we just tell them, raise your tray up. The staff will bring you more food out here.
You got not one, but 2 buff chicks. So we call it the double buff chicken sandwich.
What's so good about it?
That's the mystery. That's what makes it that much better.
The buff chicken might date back further than I've been here, since I've worked here. And since I've been here, it's always been a favorite. It's never come off the menu. I don't envision it coming off the menu, but I know if we ever took it off the menu, we'd be in trouble. We'd have some complaints.
But feedback is welcome at King Hall. A student liaison tasked with gathering the midshipmen's thoughts on the meals works with the kitchen staff to help refine menus.
Really what we do is we take midshipman feedback and improvements that we can make in King Hall and translate that into how it could actually happen with the civilians and the military staff.
Also, before releasing a new menu cycle, the staff invites midshipmen to come in and taste potential meals to see what they like.
We have what we call menu boards, where we bring in vendors that come in here with the new products to display them. We have 60 midshipmen that come in, sample it, They grade it, they give us a score and say, okay, we like this, put it on the menu cycle.
They do so much for us here to try and provide us with good food and in a quick manner that everyone's gonna like. So they're always trying to work with feedback from midshipmen and staff saying, hey, here's what we didn't like about this meal, here's what we did like. And so immediately we try and go in and solve that problem.
The menu is only one reason this meal is special.
Because today is the Navy's birthday. So happy birthday, Navy, 248 years. Today is a day to think about our legacy.
George Washington formed the Continental Navy in October 1775 to protect American colonies from British attack. 70 years later, in 1845, Secretary of the Navy George Bancroft, the namesake of Bancroft Hall, founded the Naval School in Annapolis, Maryland, which later became the United States Naval Academy. Lunch at the Naval Academy is a mandatory meal, where all 4,400 midshipmen eat together at once.
Well, the big difference you have here is we're still traditional. It's family-style feeding. But most everything else in college university is bars, Chick-fil-A, Subway, that they've contracted out with the local fast food restaurants to come in and do the food for them.
For the birthday celebration, staff and students take part in a traditional cake-cutting ceremony using a sword.
For the Navy birthday, we usually have cake cutting, in which the oldest person of the brigade and the youngest person of the brigade take turns cutting the cake and eating it, which is really fun to see. Like you'll see an old prior who did 2 to 3 years of service before coming here, and then you'll meet it's typically a plebe who's 17 years old and they barely made it into I Day. So the contrast is super fun to see.
This year, the oldest midshipman at the Academy was born in December 1996, and the youngest in April 2006.
I think it's just symbolizing the connection of the Navy. It takes us between our present and our past, and all the people who have, helped to defend this country.
In addition to the large cake, each table is given a smaller cake for the oldest and youngest midshipmen in their squad to cut. The Navy birthday lunch has its own set of traditions. But even for everyday meals, eating in King Hall involves a lot more rituals and customs than a traditional college dining hall. Every table seats a squad, a group of about 12 midshipmen from each grade level at the Academy, all with different nicknames.
Freshmen, first years are called plebes, then youngsters, second years. In your third year, you're just called the second class midshipman. But then your last year, your senior year, you're called the firstie.
In the middle of the dining hall stands a raised area known as the anchor, where leadership gathers before the meal. One unique tradition in King Hall is a favorite among students, a ritual they simply call Beat Army.
Essentially, if a plebe or someone at the table opens a can of peanut butter and there's the seal on it, they'll pass it to a plebe, and they have to essentially heat up the jar as best they can.
The reason why is because they need that warmth to make sure when it comes out it's very liquidy. So they stand up on the chair, they unscrew it just a little bit, but not too much, and then they scream, "Beat Army" at the top of their lungs and smash it against their forehead.
Beat Army!
And so it'll all explode everywhere and go on people. And so it's pretty funny.
Some people hit other mids, which is kind of frustrating if you have a nice crisp uniform on, but just to get it as far as possible. And we have grads that come in here and sometimes eat, and they'll still do it. And so we try and do it as much as possible. Unfortunately, if mids don't clean it up, it is kind of a headache on the staff to clean it up. So we limit it in the same sense, but it is a fun tradition.
At 12:30, lunch concludes, and the midshipmen quickly gather their things and head to their next class. Back in the kitchens, cooks have already begun prepping the next meal, a unique dinner that will require all hands on deck. Tonight, the Naval Academy will celebrate Oktoberfest.
We've been doing that for about 8 years now because we have a contingent of German midshipmen that come in from Germany.
Tonight's entree, various pork, beef, and vegetarian wursts.
The sausages, for the most part, are prepared in our ovens. They're not boiled, they're just prepared in ovens. They're heated up, they're cooked all the way through and heated up, and we serve them that way.
Like the sausages,
Voila.
a lot of the food in King Hall is prepared in ovens.
Some of the food here are mostly pre-prepared foods already. Not a whole lot of scratch cooking, like I said, due to the manning constraint.
I hate to say it, we always have staffing issues, shortages, but the show must go on. It's tough with, any government hire because everything has to go through all the red tape and the bureaucracy and stuff. It's not like the private sector where if you need somebody, you can hire them off the street and have them working the next day.
Well, I have about 45 that's actually working in the kitchen right now.
For side dishes, cooks are preparing about 500 pounds of sauerkraut and a mound of red cabbage. And Leberkäse, a traditional German dish similar to a bologna meatloaf that cooks slice into individual portions before placing it in the ovens.
Usually the day before, the staff will start preparing the food. They'll put in whatever pans they need to do it, put in the oven racks and whatnot. So the next day when they come in, they're basically putting the items in the oven or in the vats and whatnot. So it's difficult if we try to do everything the morning of. We just run out of time.
The menus at the Naval Academy are carefully crafted to fuel the needs of the midshipmen.
So our primary focus is making sure that they're getting enough carbohydrates, protein, and fat, as well as fruits and vegetables for fiber and micronutrients. So it's really a balance of all of those things.
In addition to the daily meals served in King Hall, there are alternative options in King's Court, which offers grab-and-go meals, as well as a large salad bar. Vegetarian options are also offered daily.
They are prepping for the midshipmen that has some dietary restrictions and stuff, so we give them available options.
While some midshipmen have dietary restrictions, others require more calories than their classmates.
There are certain sports that require higher weight, so those midshipmen do require more calories. So in those instances, they're going to have a little bit bigger portion sizes.
The Navy football team, for example, receives double portions for every meal.
We definitely always have to have extra. Football team gets 200%, maybe 10, sometimes 20 pans extra.
Let's go.
Back in King Hall, it's nearly 5:30, and waitstaff is being assigned to their positions to serve the special meal.
From there. When it's empty, you need to replenish it, okay? Okay. You help them too, okay?
Meanwhile, other staff members are adding the final touches in nearby Dahlgren Hall to convert it into a German beer hall.
Why do you guys go all out to do these events and really, promote morale here?
Oh yeah, because basically this is a campus, so we're trying to boost the morale. Every month or so we have a special menu or special events for them. Because back in the fleet, it's nothing like this in the fleet. It's a real deal. Here, we take care of them, and we do a lot of functions and special events for the crew to boost their morale.
Yum. Well, let me put it this way. We spoil them, okay? We operate on a 4-week menu cycle and we try to mimic a lot what they're going to get in the fleet. The fleet operates on a 20-day menu cycle. They have no flexibility and change it. We have flexibility. I can buy food, or we can buy food from any vendor that we want to. Because we're trying to encourage them, motivate them, and provide a good morale that they stay here. Because being a midshipman and the academics and the sports is a tough job for them.
Back in Dahlgren Hall, midshipmen begin filing in for the festivities.
A lot of times they'll come in, full lederhosen, or the women will come in a dirndl.
Midshipmen over the age of 21 are allowed to try a selection of imported German beers. But everyone is under the close watch of a task force to make sure they're all following the rules.
What's it like doing all these events?
It's a great opportunity to get to network with a lot of the officers, but also just actually eating authentic food. That's the cherry on top.
Cost we get for midshipmen now is up to $20 a day. Our biggest challenge is not running out of money, it's trying to spend the money, so we keep adding new items on the floor out here so we can spend the money.
After each meal, the staff gathers all of the dirty dishes and brings them to the scullery. Every single plate, cup, and piece of silverware must be washed before the next meal.
It's unique. That challenge that you need to feed the 4,400 Brigade strong. It's what kind of gets me up and interested and pumped up to do my next day.
I guess there's a sense of purpose in cooking for midshipmen and future leaders of the world. It feels as if you're, maybe pushing towards a higher calling.
I worked at the Air Force Academy for 8 years, been here 14 years, so I'd say I've got about 40 years food service experience. I've always loved it. It's always what I dreamed of, and this is a very ideal job.
These cooks are grilling 4,200 beef tenderloin steaks at the U.S. Air Force Academy's 225,000 square foot dining hall near Colorado Springs, Colorado. And that's just for dinner. Over the course of 3 meals, the staff at Mitchell Hall will make 590 pounds of hash browns, 375 pounds of eggs, and 90 pounds of bacon for breakfast. Lunch will require an additional 127 pounds of bacon, 1,700 pounds of waffle fries, and 5,400 burger patties. On any given day, the cooks here are preparing 10,000 meals.
This is the biggest dining facility I've ever worked in. You look at 430 tables, family style, and you got a starch, a meat, and a vegetable. You're looking at about 1,300 pans of food that are going on the table on a daily basis for lunch here.
But feeding 4,000 Air Force cadets isn't the same as feeding your average college student.
Their energy needs are quite high compared to the average person, where most people are trying to eat 2,000 calories. These kids, I want them eating much, much more than that and consistently throughout the day.
And on top of the bigger calorie count, lunch comes with a set of Air Force traditions 3 days a week. We got to see how one of the military's largest dining facilities cooks massive quantities of food across 3 different meals. Mitchell Hall has an annual budget of $20 million. In 2022, the dining facility purchased 546,000 pounds of meat, 1.2 million pounds of produce, and 21,000 gallons of milk, which were served across 3.5 million meals. Today's dinner is not just any meal. It's the Cadet Wings Recognition Dinner.
Recognition is a 3-day event where the freshman class is put through many stressful events to test their mental and physical stamina. Once you make it to recognition dinner, it's a sense of accomplishment. The freshman class is recognized as a fully qualified members of the Cadet Wing.
To celebrate, the staff is preparing 4,000 steaks, 1,600 pounds of tortellini, and 788 pounds of orange glazed carrots. The first steak hits the grill at 1 o'clock to ensure the meal is ready on time, 5 hours before dinner is served. The steaks move in an assembly line fashion. They're removed from their packaging then placed on the grill, where they're seasoned and then cooked. They're then moved into a pan, wrapped, and wheeled away to be stored in hot carts to keep them warm until dinner. At the other end of the kitchen, the pre-made pasta is poured into pans, topped with pesto Parmesan Alfredo sauce, and moved into a rotating oven to cook. Preparing this much food requires an incredible amount of organization, but not just today. A meal like this is planned out more than a month in advance.
We really want to work 6 to 8 weeks ahead and commit, we call it committing our menu for that far in advance. Sometimes we'll find that in 8 weeks there's a holiday meal, so we need to make special preparations and changes to the menu for any special events that might be coming up.
And the recognition dinner is one of the most special meals of the year. In the front of the house, the dining area is prepped for the cadets. Back in the kitchen, onions, carrots, and mushrooms are cooked with a medley of seasonings for the vegetarian beef stew, while the rest of the staff strains 788 pounds of vegetables and moves them into hot carts for dinner service. As cadets begin filing into the dining hall, freshmen, known as fourth-year cadets, typically have to pass out plates and silverware for the table. After that, the fourth years read and study the Air Force Academy handbook, known as contrails, as they wait to be seated, while upperclassmen quiz them. Tonight, the fourth years become fully recognized members of the cadet wing and will no longer have to perform these duties.
So during the year of freshman year, we're required to come in here, and after everything's set up, we have to hold our contrails at the position of attention and study them. So they make us do this, A, to form discipline because we're standing at attention, holding our arms up. So on Saturday night, it's a fun tradition to come in and have your upperclassmen do that with random objects.
0 grams, potassium, 160 milligrams, 4% sir.
And then you can ask them questions like they would with us with our knowledge. We're like yelling at them in a fun manner, and it's just a really cool experience, tradition that we do.
Before dinner ends, the wait staff brings out Mitch's Mountains, a dessert made earlier in the week by upperclassmen just for today's occasion.
The Mitch's workers came in and they brought us these boxes, and we're like, oh, what's that? Then they open them and it's just this pile of dessert. And so it's pound cake on the bottom, topped with a bunch of scoops of ice creams and whipped cream and cherries and American flags on top to celebrate our country. And so that was one of the cool experiences for us as freshmen.
After the meal, the staff in charge of the recognition dinner head home. In just 8 hours, a fresh team of cooks will arrive to prepare the next meal.
Good morning. Our head count for today has gone back down. We had to increase because of the weekend for recognition. So breakfast, we have scrambled eggs, bacon, and the roundabout hash browns. Let's have a good shift.
This morning, the cooks only have 2.5 hours to prepare breakfast for 1,500 students. It's a smaller meal because, unlike most lunches during the week, cadets aren't required to attend. But it's still a challenge to finish on time.
The biggest challenge that we have right now is making sure that we have enough staff on hand to make sure that the job gets done on a daily basis. We are open 7 days a week, and we do serve 3 meals per day, so the work never stops.
Like many other kitchens, Mitchell Hall is still recovering from a staffing shortage caused by the pandemic. The 8 cooks on staff for this meal boil 375 pounds of pre-cooked scrambled eggs, heat up 90 pounds of bacon, and cook 560 pounds of hash browns in an industrial-sized fryer known as the Monster.
As our staffing dwindled, we've had to go to a lot of pre-done convenience items. For instance, boil bag mashed potatoes, boil bag mac and cheese. It's a very time-saving opportunity for us with the short staff that we have.
It's a proven method for serving large quantities of nutritious food with only a handful of cooks. The staff will spend the majority of their time transferring breakfast items into pans, where they will be set on the serving line for cadets to grab and go or dine in. But just as breakfast is being served, lunch prep is already underway.
So lunch today, the cadets are getting what we call the California burger. They're getting waffle fries today. Again, they get run through our monster deep fryer as well. And we got the lettuce, tomato, onion kits that come in fresh, and those get placed on the table as well.
On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there's no room for error in preparing the lunch meal. All 4,000 cadets are required to dine in at Mitchell Hall, and they're only given 20 minutes to eat.
There's only about a 30-minute window that they have between classes. Then right after that, they're going to another class of military training. So there's only a small window built in for them to eat in Mitchell Hall.
That limits their options. We can't provide endless options in a meal like that, so they do get their one main option. We usually have a lean protein option for them, and then we have a vegetarian option, and that's it. Where at like a traditional college, you're gonna go in and you're gonna have different types of cuisines available. We don't have that necessarily here. I think it's just the scale that we serve on is the biggest difference in how we provide food to our cadets.
Prepping the burger patties for 4,000 cadets takes about 4 hours. Cooks start by laying out the pre-cooked patties on a tray before moving them into the oven to heat up. In another part of the kitchen, cooks work together to feed 1,700 pounds of waffle fries into the deep fryer conveyor belt. As the fries exit, they are immediately put into pans that are later loaded into hot carts. Meanwhile, vegetables are boiled and seasoned in 2 100-gallon kettles.
So what we have here is our 100-gallon steam jacketed kettles. We cook a very diverse amount of product through here. Right now we're doing Italian vegetables. That's one of the vegetables for lunch service today. Typically on veg, we'll do about 200 pounds worth of vegetables for a lunch service.
On the lower level of the kitchen, staff works to wash, chop, and pack fruits and vegetables for meals planned later in the week. Prepping food days in advance allows staff to seamlessly serve thousands of required meals.
There's a buffalo chicken wrap, buffalo chicken tenders with vegetarians, waffle fries.
But even more crucial to their efficiency is planning the menu weeks in advance and storing the meals in the dining facility's 20,000 square foot warehouse.
When we are ordering foods, that order goes in all at the same time for the whole week. They get put into a category, and depending on that category is the day that they arrive.
Once everything comes up the elevator, we'll separate it and take it to wherever it needs to be. We have 4 storage departments: the warehouse, the freezer, meat, and dairy.
While the warehouse staff takes inventory and stocks next week's food, the kitchen staff is wrapping up lunch, moving the last few batches of food onto warming trays. Outside, cadets get into formation for the dine-in lunch, which is mandatory 3 days a week. The Air Force Academy Band begins playing as the cadet wing marches toward Mitchell Hall.
2,500 men in the making march en masse to mess for meals like Mother never made.
Since the Air Force Academy was established in 1954, cadets have been required to march into lunch. Once inside, 4th years set the table and serve the food.
We set out all the plates, we set out forks, knives, and spoons if they're needed. I was at the position called the cold pilot. I pour the waters and set that all for the table. And then the person next to him is called the hot pilot, which he would get all the food ready, everything, the meat, the vegetables, and the carbs. He would set that for each freshman and every upperclassman.
Today is the freshman class's first lunch since recognition, where those responsibilities no longer fall on them. They dine like the rest of the cadet wing.
It is impossible to meet 4,000 cadets' nutritional needs and food likes and dislikes. And so really it's working on them on an individual basis, just emphasizing the importance of regular eating and how that affects both not only their academic performance, but their physical performance as well.
The Air Force Academy follows the nutrition standards outlined by the U.S. military, which requires its most active members to eat up to 4,700 calories a day for men and 3,000 a day for women. Mitchell Hall provides as much as 5,000 calories in a day, not including food from Falcon Express, the grab-and-go station inside the dining hall.
I order every single item that goes into there, so I try to balance it out too with things that are good and healthy for them, that provide a lot of energy and nutrition, with some fun things as well, like Cracker Jacks and potato chips and stuff like that.
At 12:15, lunch comes to an end. Cadets clear their tables and head to their next class. The waitstaff begins cleaning the tables and resetting the dining area. Back in the kitchen, the cooking staff starts prepping for dinner, which will be served in 5 hours. These cooks make up to 13,200 meals a day for the 4,400 cadets here at the United States Military Academy in West Point, New York. Today, the team is making over 22,000 meatballs, combined with 4,000 pounds of noodles and 150 gallons of tomato sauce. And that's just for one of the dishes on the lunch menu.
I would say in comparison to a standard college, we do things a little differently, I think, than most colleges do.
Attention all cadets. For lunch, we are having chicken.
There are lunchtime rituals, and each meal is balanced specifically for these future military leaders' rigorous workload.
The cadets' nutritional requirements are elevated because they are engaging in academic work, in military training, as well as their physical exercise that they're completing here day to day.
Every meal is earned, not given. So the fact that we are able to march in step, keeping our military bearing, shows after a long day or long morning of classes, we've earned this meal.
Meals at West Point are served here at Washington Hall, the historic mess hall where Army cooks have been feeding West Point cadets for nearly 100 years.
At meal times, the destination is Washington Hall, where the cadet gains back the pounds he lost during last summer's hike. And the food is tops in wholesomeness.
Probably our most difficult meal to support here is our lunch meals, where the cadets have about 25 minutes to get into the building, sit down, eat, and get out.
I think the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is how fast it all goes. So it starts at noon at formation. We all get in there by 12:10. And then after that, the food is served to 4,000 people and eaten all within 15 minutes.
But it's not just the cadets who have to move fast.
A lot of the cook staff who have been in those military environments and who have understood what that means to serve and what that looks like. So I think they try to structure the menu so that they may see similar things when they're out, not at West Point.
But how does the staff at West Point prepare over 4,000 nutritious meals that can be served and eaten in under 25 minutes? Insider was granted rare access to the mess hall to see how they pull it off. The food is prepared underneath the mess hall, in the labyrinth of hallways, kitchens, and freezers.
So feeding 4,000 cadets is certainly a challenge. It is also a very well-oiled machine. We've got multiple refrigerators and freezers here. My whole background in the Army has been in food service the entire 20 years that I've been in the Army. In the cadet mess, I have approximately 90 Department of the Army civilian employees that are our cooks. They're the ones that cook all the food. But we also have another approximately 130 or so contractors that work in the mess here, and their job is to actually serve the food to the cadets. The challenges preparing 4,000 meals 3 times a day are substantial. Our staff is arriving at 3:30 in the morning, and we're not opening for breakfast for another 3 hours, but the reason is because it takes that 3 hours to prepare food for 4,500 cadets.
On the menu for today's lunch, spaghetti with meatballs, breadsticks, fruit salad, broccoli, and iced cake. Prepping enough spaghetti for over 4,000 students starts nearly 2 hours before lunchtime. In the large kitchen, Cooks start the spaghetti by boiling 400 pounds of pasta in these giant vats. Then they add 22,500 meatballs, which they prepared early this morning, enough for each cadet to have 5. With the spaghetti underway, cooks begin steaming 720 pounds of broccoli. Meanwhile, in the bakery, 400 cakes are being iced and placed on carts. Back in the main kitchen, cooks drain the water from the vats and add 150 gallons of tomato sauce. While the spaghetti is simmering, cooks in a temperature-controlled cold kitchen are preparing for a lunch that won't be served for another 2 days. These cooks are opening 2 pallets of frozen ribs weighing 3,600 pounds and breaking them into pieces. Prepping meals days in advance is one of the methods the mess hall staff uses to serve so many cadets so quickly.
For menu development, I work with a dietitian that works for the United States Corps of Cadets, which is upstairs from the cadet mess here. We come up with options that using Army recipes that are in the Army system, as well as other recipes that are available online, and we review those recipes, make sure that they meet the dietary guidelines that they need to meet for West Point's standards, and then we try them out.
I am a registered dietitian and a certified specialist in sports dietetics for the Corps of Cadets at West Point. So the menus are structured in a certain way to make sure that they are meeting all of their calorie requirements. So on the menus, there's usually carbohydrate-based foods, which are going to fuel their brain health, support their academic performance, as well as prime their muscles for some of that moderate to high intensity exercise that they're going to engage in. And then we usually have plant and animal-based protein sources in order to support their tissue and muscle recovery. And then we have a lot of different fruit and vegetable options, so fresh fruit. We have cooked vegetables at the table, as well as a pretty robust salad bar that provides lots of antioxidants to make sure that they get that color in, it supports their immune system, and make sure that they combat some of that inflammation that's occurring from that intense exercise.
Once all the dishes are finished, they are served into portioned containers and loaded into heated carts.
We have around 50 to 75 of the hot carts going, so generally speaking, each hot cart will hold food for about 10 tables.
10 minutes until assembly for lunch formation.
Before lunch formation and before morning formation, the plebes call minutes, and they say the meal for that day.
For lunch, we are having chicken, rice, and vegetables.
After receiving the minutes read aloud by freshmen known as plebes,
5 minutes remaining.
Cadets get into company formation in front of Washington Hall in an area called the apron.
All right, right.
While the students gather, members of the West Point band play them into formation. Meanwhile, inside the mess hall, the wait staff is setting out the water and bread for the 25-minute meal.
Oh, it's like everything you've seen in the movies. Before formation, we heard the band start kicking off, really telling us to fall in the companies.
4 count 4.
Once the accountability is taken of the company, then battalion, and the regiment, we all start marching to the beat of the drum to the mess hall. And really the drums help us stay in step, keep the cadence, and keeping our military bearing.
As cadets file in, the wait staff has only 6 minutes to get the food from the hot carts onto each table.
We make sure that all the table is set in terms of etiquette and making sure that everybody has their silverware, plates, napkins, cups. The plebes are actually in charge of making sure that this etiquette actually happens.
Meals at West Point are full of traditions that the cadets observe, like the plebes pouring water for the upperclassmen,
Etiquette is a huge deal in the military, and so this kind of just reinforces from your first year here that etiquette is super important.
At the plebe end of the table, every seat has a specific role and responsibility.
Typically, you'll have one person at the end, and that's your cold beverage corporal. They will be in charge of making sure that everyone has a cup full of water, because there's water pitchers on the table when you get there. And then there will be a gunner to the left of them at the end of the table. They're in charge of the desserts. And then to the right of the cold beverage corporal is the hot beverage corporal. That person is in charge of getting, if there's soup in the buffet line or like coffee in the mornings.
Take seats.
And then the plebes will call the table, which means that they basically say like the fourth class has performed all their duties and now we're ready to eat, and then at that point we all start eating our meal.
Portion sizes are crucial to ensure each cadet is receiving their daily caloric intake. But some tables in the mess hall receive more than the standard portion.
So there's a variety of different cadets here, right, with a variety of different nutrition needs, and they're always doing different levels of activity.
Tables with a heavy designation receive a portion and a half, and tables with a heavy sign get double portions.
For some of the athletes that we have that have to maintain a higher body weight for their sport, such as football or heavyweight wrestling or some of our track and field throwers, they require more calories to be able to support that activity, as well as keep their body weight in a range to be competitive in their sport. So they may need more calories to support that.
Let's go.
For cadets, lunch is a mandatory meal.
They're all coming here from all over the country and honestly all over the world, because they're exchange students as well. So it's a way to make sure that they can build that camaraderie and build that build that team together by making them have that meal.
For upperclassmen, breakfast and some dinners are optional, where they can choose from several other options on campus. Another tradition in Washington Hall, all 4 years of students sit next to each other for lunch.
I love having a table with both freshmen, juniors, seniors. It definitely allows you to interact with people in your company that you normally wouldn't. And we switch tables every semester as well, so we get to build those new relationships with people throughout our 4 years here.
What are some of the favorite meals of the cadets here?
So I think probably the most favorite meal, and something you'll probably hear a lot, is there's a spicy chicken patty that the cadets absolutely love.
My favorite meal here would probably be either spicy chicken or the sweet and sour chicken with rice.
Favorite meal is definitely Crispito, sir. It's like a hot dog burrito, if I had to explain it.
I really do like the Taco Tuesdays. I also think they do a very good job with the seafoods.
What's your least favorite food here?
My least favorite food would probably be taco night.
Probably the pork chop.
I'm not really a big Philly cheesesteak guy.
Sometimes they'll get burnt out on eating chicken. There's only so many proteins that we can prepare. Chicken is one of them that really almost everybody eats. So, it's trying to find different ways to season the chicken or different ways to prepare the chicken so that, their palate doesn't get burnt out from eating the same thing.
This is Washington Hall inside the cadet mess area, as we call it. So behind me is the famous mural. The inspiration behind this was by General Douglas MacArthur, class 1903. And in the 1930s, he became Chief of Staff of the Army. He worked with the academic board here, and they came up with the concept of battles, leaders, commanders, and technology. You'll see Alexander the Great up top with a chariot. You'll see siege rams and so on. All the states are by admission. So you got Arkansas, Texas, Iowa, California, and so on. Behind me is the entrance from the mess hall when it was finished in 1929. So below me, about 3 or 4 feet, would be steps, and then the grass area out here. This was the front of the mess hall. So in the early 1960s, the idea was to expand the enrollment of the academy, because the Army and the Air Force Academy, which was only a few years old, had an enrollment top of 2,500, where the Naval Academy had 4,000 midshipmen by law. So there's different aspects that occurred, but in 1965, the law was signed and they started building, expanding. So they built out from the original 1929 mess hall this way.
So at the end of the meal, normally they'll call upper class rest or brigade rise, and then at that point everybody can get up and leave. So at that point, meal is ended. It usually only takes like 12 to 15 minutes for everybody to eat, and then we're on our way to our next class.
And when does the next class usually start?
Our next class starts at 12:45.
As the cadets begin to leave Washington Hall, the wait staff cleans the tables. And back in the kitchens, the cooks have begun preparing dinner, which is only 5.5 hours away.
After you've been on a long training exercise like this, where you've eaten only MREs for 2 weeks, what's going to be your first meal in terms of what you can get?
Probably KFC.
Really?
Yeah, we got good KFC in New Zealand. My name's Sam. I'm a bombardier in the New Zealand Army with 16th Field Regiment. About to try some United States military MREs.
In November, the New Zealand Army traveled to Hawaii to participate in a joint training exercise with the U.S. Army. We asked one of their soldiers to try an American MRE, which stands for Meal Ready to Eat.
The MREs kind of block you up a wee bit. So I got 3 MREs. We've got the pork sausage patty with maple flavour. We've got the cheese tortellini and tomato sauce. And then we got the creamy spinach fettuccine. I chose this one because I haven't eaten it yet.
Can you just open it by hand?
Yeah. We got the creamy spinach fettuccine here. Maple mustard and onion pretzel nuggets. We got peanut butter. Got some small condiments, including chewing gum. We got the First Strike Nutritionist Energy Bar. We've got a hot beverage bag. We've got the crackers to go with the peanut butter. And then we've got the heater bag and the cardboard container to house the heater bag.
I guess is this your lunch?
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
What are you starting with?
With the honey mustard and onion pretzel nuggets.
Okay. So this is sort of like the snack.
Yeah, the precursor.
The appetizer?
Yeah. Not too bad.
Is it as good as like a snack food you'd get at a shop?
It's better than I thought it was going to be. We're going to crack into the crackers.
You probably had these before because they're in every.
They're in every.
So what do you think of the crackers?
They're not too bad. We have something similar. You have a lot of cheeses, like just cheese spread and jalapeno cheese, where we don't sort of have that.
So MREs come with silverware too, huh?
Yeah, we don't have that.
Really?
No. We get issued a KFS, so your knife, fork and spoon.
KFS.
Yeah. Or a spork. Just peanut butter and crackers. And then I'll crack into this one.
All right, so this is the main course,
The main
right?
course, yeah. It's the MRE heater.
What's it for?
It's to heat up your meat pack or your main course. So there's a little pouch here, just has a chemical reaction with the water and it heats up, and essentially the residual heat heats the MRE.
All right, do you want to show me how that works?
Yeah, sure.
So tell me what you're doing here.
So I'm just placing the main course into the heater bag, and then you've got your the actual heater on itself. A line of water where you want to fill it up to. Probably enough. And then just give it a bit of a shake just to sort of activate it a little bit quicker. Fold up the edges. And you just chuck it in this little pouch here just to stop the edges folding up. Then try and keep the actual heater pack on the bottom. Should be good to go in like 5 minutes.
What's going to be your first meal in terms of what you can get?
Probably KFC.
Really?
Yeah, we got good KFC in New Zealand.
What's your order at KFC?
Probably like a 20 pack of Wicked Wings. I don't know if you have Wicked Wings.
I haven't had Wicked Wings. What's in that?
They're just like a spicy wing.
You've been in the Army now for how long?
Since end of 2016.
How many MREs do you think you've eaten?
Too many. We'll take our own sort of stuff out, so I like to take like a Polar peanut butter or Nutella or something like that. It's high in calories, so I'm not having to eat MREs all the time. Well, you can just see it.
Like steam coming off of it? I can see like the bubbles.
Yeah.
It's been like 4 minutes?
Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes, yeah. So, it's been boiling away.
Does that feel hot to the touch?
Super hot. Try not to burn myself. Yeah, and just squeeze it around. So this is the main course, the creamy spinach tortellini.
Right.
Doesn't look too bad.
Let's see.
Not too bad, maybe a 6 out of 10.
Describe the flavors you're experiencing right now, or lack thereof.
Lack thereof. Yeah, it's spinachy. Yeah, it's not too bad actually.
So more spinachy than tortellini-y?
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking I was going to get, but...
This just kind of looks like a carbo load. Do you think like this could sustain you for a while in the field?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how many calories are in that, maybe like 500 calories, yeah.
How many MREs during an exercise like this do you go through in a day?
Probably just the two single meal ones, yeah.
You feel sustained on that?
Yeah, if I was going a bit further distances or working a wee bit harder, I'd probably need a wee bit more food, but yeah, enough to keep me going. Probably normally lose a little bit of weight in the field, so.
What's been the best American MRE so far that you've had?
Is it the beef ragout? Beef ragout?
Like ravioli?
Yeah. The pizza one wasn't too bad, actually.
Now, will you save some stuff if you don't want to eat it all right away and do what they call graze on it later?
Yeah.
Or do you just eat it all in one go?
Well, this you're probably gonna have to eat all in one go. Or like the Scroggin bag, like I was saying. So you basically tear all the carbs and all the sweets and stuff and just chuck them in one bag so you can just graze the whole time pretty much.
What is Scroggin?
So Scroggin, I guess it's a New Zealand term. It's just a mixed bag of nuts and freeze-dried berries and that kind of thing, and we just all cut it out of their MRE version and we just chuck it in one big bag so we're not having to muck around with rubbish and all that kind of thing, so we can graze.
Hey, what's this?
This is the First Strike Nutritious Energy Bar.
Have you had one of these yet?
I have.
How would you describe the texture when you hold that?
Very sticky, packed full of calories and sugars and stuff. Quite a bit of chocolate in energy bars.
Is that good for morale?
Yeah, definitely. I'll hide the chocolate bars in my sleeping bag at night. So I jump in unless I got something to look forward to.
You don't have to finish it all. Or do finish it, whatever you want. So what's in this little pouch here?
Creamer, freeze-dried coffee, some salt, crushed red pepper, some sugar, towelette to clean your hands, matches, just a napkin, chewing gum.
You want to try that?
Peppermint.
Tell me what you think of American MREs compared to New Zealand MREs.
They're pretty similar, just different flavours.
What's your plan once you have a say in what you can eat?
I'm in Hawaii, so I'll probably go get some poke bowl or something like that.
Well, what about when you get back to New Zealand?
KFC.
Stand clear. We went from a box on wheels to a whole freaking kitchen, right? The containerized kitchen provides the Army with the ability to perform large-scale feeding and everything that we need to prepare up to 800 meals 3 times a day. My name is Staff Sergeant Nicholas Davis. I'm an advanced culinary NCO at Joint Culinary Center of Excellence, Field Operations Training Branch. Today, I'll be going over all the equipment that an Army culinary specialist uses on the containerized kitchen. An Army culinary specialist is someone who has been certified to perform culinary duties to support the United States Army and all of their feeding needs. Now here is our cooking center. We've got these grates right here that allow us to suspend our cooking pots or pans above our modern burner unit. Our modern burner unit generates about 52,000 BTUs. All right, that's a lot of cooking power. We can fry, saute, boil, anything we need to on this portion of the containerized kitchen. Right here is our cooking pot. Cooking pot is nestled in the cooking pot cradle assembly. What this does is it contains the heat from the modern burner unit around that pot. This is a 15-gallon pot, and as you can imagine, trying to boil 15 gallons of water will take quite some time. This right here is going to cut that time down and reduce the risk of people getting burnt or heating up the area unnecessarily. Right here, we've got a large griddle. You'll see around it, we've got a splash guard, pancakes, bacon, eggs, sausage, steak, hash browns. You name it, we can do it here on this griddle. I've actually gone so far as to do like a hibachi grill. Underneath the griddle is my grease trap. This piece right here just slides out. Anything that I scrape off will funnel into there and I can discard it. Over here, we've got a convection oven. It works much the same way as a gas oven that you'll find in your house. We're going to use our modern burner unit underneath as our heat source. Inside is a large fan on the back that's going to force that heated air around, regulate the temperature inside the oven, and decrease our cooking time, increasing our potential yield. Next to it, we've got a tray pack heater. It is exactly what it says it is. When we don't have the capacity to hold food in a refrigerator, we're going to use the UGR Heat and Serve ration. That UGR Heat and Serve ration comes in the form of food, shelf stable, contained in heat-resistant plastic trays. We'll load this up with up to 24 tray packs. Add water, let that heat warm those tray packs through. Next to the tray pack heater, we've got a fully functioning sink, running water, heated, that'll drain outside. There's the ability to run soap through it. So now, as you're cooking, you can clean your hands, you can wipe out, rinse off your vegetables, fruits, all right, wipe out your utensils. Here in this corner, we have a warming cabinet. Now, this warming cabinet is so critical to the function of the containerized kitchen. We can cook all day long, but I need some way to hold my food safely, maintain that temperature prior to serving it to my personnel. This warming cabinet affords me the option to cook a large amount of food, keep it at a maintained temperature outside the temperature danger zone, and continue on with my cooking process. Next to my warming cabinet, going in the opposite way, I've got 2 industrial refrigerators. Now we'll talk about how we serve. We can configure our cooking center to be a serving line. I'm going to remove these grates. We're going to exercise caution when removing these because these will be hot if I've been cooking on them. So I'll slide this off, just get it out of the way. I'll grab my serving line divider. Place that on top right there. This is designed to fit any standard size pan. I can put them in here and I can serve hot food, or I can put ice in there and serve cold food if necessary. Can't do it at the same time though. I've got shields here on the backside of my cooking center. Those shields are removable. These shields act to keep all the heat from these multiple cooking surfaces on this side of the kitchen. Up above here, I've got my industrial hood vent system that's gonna vent out excess heat, diesel exhaust. But also over here, I've got two large industrial fans that are also going to vent excess hot air out of the containerized kitchen. Now, once we remove as much of the hot air as possible, I can turn on my ECU or environmental control unit. That's my air conditioning. I can cool my cooking area down a little bit to make it a little more comfortable for today's Army culinary specialists. This side is gonna be for our serving. We're gonna prep, we're gonna serve things like salad, desserts, beverages. Over here, we've got some insulated food containers for storage. We've got insulated beverage containers or dispensers. Right here, we've got a 10-gallon and a 15-gallon pot that we're gonna use for cooking. You'll notice right here, we've got some tray slides. So as people come through and they get their food, we got a little spot for them to rest their trays. So starting over here, we'll go over the assortment of cutlery that comes with the containerized kitchen. We've got our paring knife, standard 3-inch paring knife. We've got our 6-inch utility knife or the rigid boning knife. This right here, sure some of y'all are familiar with, all right? Michael Myers, this is a 10-inch chef's knife. Now this right here, we're gonna do a lot of our major cutting. We got ribs, we gotta cut up a lot of vegetables. This is the knife that we're gonna use for that. We've got a scimitar or a steak knife, long, used for cutting meat. A lot of times we'll get large pieces of meat, we gotta break them down, make them a little bit smaller. All right, we'll use this to cut that.
What kind of large meats do you get?
We have what's called a steamship round, which is basically the hind quarter of a cow. We'll cook that up, all right, carve that, prime rib, turkeys, things like that, pork roast. Any of those large cuts of meat that we may get, we're gonna use our scimitar knife to cut those up. And then to ensure that all of our knives keep a straight edge, we've got a butcher steel that we can use to make sure that we do all of our cuts properly. Next, I've got my heavy-duty neoprene gloves. We use these gloves when we're pulling stuff out of hot water. So when we're preparing our meals, more often than not, our water's gonna get up to about 170, 180 degrees. We don't wanna go too much higher than that, boiling. That increases the risk of burning yourself and is going to increase the evaporation of the water and increase our water consumption rate. We've got a can opener, standard everyday can opener that you see at your house, but we open a lot of big cans. Our slotted spoon, standard serving spoon, 15-inch serving spoon. When that one won't cut it, we've got our 21-inch serving spoon. A lot of times if we've got a large amount of food that we're serving, we've got big pans that we're gonna serve out of. All right, this is gonna be beneficial to get back into the corners, serve the same purpose as the other one, you just get a little more reach out of it. Next is our skimmer. So with our skimmer, this is used to skim stuff off the top of stocks. I can actually also use this if I just want to strain something out. Here, I've got an assortment of food turners. So this long food turner, I'm gonna use this for something more like eggs, if I got pancakes, so I can get in on the side of it, use that, and I can flip it over. This food turner, with that rounded front, I'm gonna use this for something a little more sturdy. If I'm cooking steaks or bacon or something like that, I'm gonna use this, get in there, I can flip it over. All right, a lot more sturdy. This food turner, Probably one of the best ones we have. All right, heavy duty. I can use this to scrape my griddle as well as flip my steaks, eggs, burgers. Anytime I'm cooking meat, I'm looking for one of these food turners. My baker scraper. I'm gonna use my baker scraper. I use this to clean my griddle. I use it to clean my tabletops. Depending on what type of rations we have, I may get up on here, make bread, cookies. I'm gonna use my baker scraper the same way that I would use it in a regular kitchen. This is our food scoop. We're gonna use this anytime we have something that might stick to the spoon. Things like ice cream or mashed potatoes, refried beans, softer vegetables like spinach. We'll use that so we can get it in and ensure that everyone gets a proper portion size. Next, we have our tongs. Anytime we wanna grab something, we're gonna use our tongs. Next is our serving fork. I use this much in the same way as tongs. For things that are a little bit closer, a little bit smaller, I'll use my 15-inch fork. I've got my 21-inch fork, especially when I'm using my large griddle. I'm gonna use this 21-inch fork. Next is my whisk. So this right here is a rigid whisk. You can tell the tines on it are a little bit thicker. I can also use this to add air to stuff if I wanna make things like meringues or whipped cream. Next, I've got my rolling pin. Everybody knows what a rolling pin is for, but here we use it for a few other things. We use our rolling pin to break up ice for when we pre-chill our insulated food containers. We have a 4-quart pitcher. When you're preparing food for 800 personnel, you don't have time for small measuring cups. 4-quart pitcher is gonna allow us to scale out, to measure out large amounts of liquid. If you don't need to go quite so big as 4 quarts, this is a 1-quart dipper. We're gonna use this to help transfer food from our large cooking pots to our serving dishes. Next, we have an 8-ounce ladle. Now, precision is everything. We have a set of measuring spoons. We're gonna use our measuring spoons to ensure we're getting the right measurements according to those recipe cards. Everything we do is hot. So we've got our hot pads. We're gonna use these hot pads when we're moving hot pans, we're removing stuff from the oven. I'll even use my hot pad sometime when I'm cleaning my griddle, just to give myself a little bit of protection from that hot stuff that's on the griddle. I've got a variety of serving pans. This is a half pan. Anyone who's worked in food service can identify this as a 6-inch half pan. We'll store food in here to serve it. We can prepare food in here even. Step up from the half pan is our 6-inch line pan. Some people may know it as a hotel pan. This is a 6-inch line pan. And that's all the equipment that a U.S. Army culinary specialist uses in our containerized kitchen. Jokes, jokes.